The first cards of Power of the Elements have been revealed. Although still no cover card revealed, I did expect Elemental Heroes and Neos support to be in this set. And that's all based on the name because they have 6 elements used in those decks. And I still expect the cover card to be an Elemental Hero, because Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's cover cards so far are all protagonists and rivals. But anyway, let's begin. So first off, we start off with Elemental Hero Spirit of Neos. Why not just call him Elemental Hero Neos Spirit? But whatever. It's a level 7 light warrior with 2500 attack, 2000 defense, and its effect is, they're all hard once per turn. When your opponent's monster declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense. If you do, it cannot be destroyed by battle. Effect is really nice, especially for Neos, because if you don't have Neo space, they're gonna be shuffled back to the extra deck. So at least that this can offer up some protection. Especially because this first effect combos with the second effect, where if this card special summon, you can add one spell and trap that has a specific elemental hero's name or one polymerization from your deck to your hand. So first effect special summon self, second effect adds a card to your hand. Especially the third effect, during your main phase you can shuffle this card back to the deck if you do special summon one elemental hero normal monster from your deck. Nice that it says any elemental hero normal monster, because the original elemental hero lineup were all normal monsters, or at least a majority of them. So at least that you got more targets, especially with this new support wave, you're going to be using both Neos and the original elemental hero lineup mixed in together. So this overall is a pretty good card for Neos. Next, Crosskeeper. Yes, it is an elemental hero card. It's a level 2 dark warrior with 400 attack and 400 defense. Both effects will be hard once per turn, and its effect is, you can send this card from your hand or on the field to the graveyard to special summon one elemental hero or one Neospatial monster from your hand or graveyard. But if that monster was special summoned from the graveyard, its effects are negated. This basically helps you with play extension, because a majority of your E-hero lineup, at least the original ones, don't really have special summon effects and kind of relies on other cards. This just helps you out with extra consistency. So this effect alone really is good for the deck. But the second effect is, if you special summon a elemental hero fusion monster while this card's in your graveyard, you can banish this card, draw 2 cards, place 1 card from your hand to the bottom of the deck. You can only use an effect of this card once per turn. So first effect just helps you make your plays, second effect just lets you get more cards. Either way, you should run this because it just adds so much consistency to the deck. And now to the new fusion monster, which is basically a fusion between Neos and Flame Wingman, or in this case Shining Flare Wingman. Because we got Plasma and Phoenix Enforcer fusion, that's why we have to have a polar opposite of it, right? Anyway, time to introduce you to Elemental Hero Shining Neos Wingman. Level 8 Light Warrior Fusion with 3100 attack, 2500 defense, requires 1 Elemental Hero Neos and 1 Wingman Fusion monster. Might take some effort to summon. It must be fusion summoned, and its first effect is a hard once per turn, where when this card is special summoned, you can destroy cards your opponent controls up to the number of different attributes on the field. Well, you're guaranteed at least one, because the minute that you fusion summon this card, you have one attribute, which is this card. But if you control other E-heroes, which in many cases they will have different attributes from this one, you're going to be able to destroy multiple cards, which is not too bad, especially if you have Electrum, because that one is counted as 4 attributes. But second effect, it gains 300 attack for every monster in your graveyard, not just E-heroes, and not only that, this cannot be destroyed by card effects. So it's going to be a big beat stick that can only be destroyed by battle. Yeah, it's not unaffected by card effects, but not being able to be destroyed by card effects is also pretty tough. And then the third effect is basically classic Flame Wingman, where if this card destroys a monster by battle, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the destroyed monster's attack. So it's a big beat stick that can annihilate your opponent's field on summon, and it can only be destroyed by battle and not by card effect, and can also deal a lot of damage to your opponent because it also gets a huge power boost for each monster in the graveyard. This is overall not too bad. The only thing is, it's summoning the Flame Wingman because the original E-hero lineup isn't that great. But it's a pretty strong card for Jaden with his 2 main aces fusing with each other. And now to the spells, our first card is a normal spell, Engage Neo Space. You can only activate one of these per turn. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of the turn you activate this card except for fusions. Well, that kinda sucks for Link summoning. But anyway, its effect is that send 1 Neospatial monster and 1 elemental hero monster to the graveyard, 1 from your hand and 1 from your deck, and then special summon 1 Neospatial monster or 1 level high or higher elemental hero monster from your deck. If it's Neos, it also gets the extra 1000 attack. And if you do, add 1 poly from your deck or graveyard graveyard to your hand. So basically another consistency search card, but this one can also set up the graveyard. The only thing is that this can end up being a dead draw because it does rely on another specific type of card in your hand, but this can be essential to combo with some of your cards. All because of that graveyard setup and also because you add Poly along with it. It's a definitely must run. And then we go to another normal spell, Instant Contact. You can only activate one of these per turn, and its effect is pay 1000 life points to special summon one level 7 or lower elemental hero or Neospatian monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. But if you don't have Neos on the field or graveyard, the special summon monster cannot attack and its effects are negated, and also return it to the extra deck during the end phase. So basically, you can cheat out one of your fusion monsters. That is pretty nice. And remember, there is the existence of the next Neospatians as fusion monsters, which you can also summon, but you're most likely not. And there's also Marine Neos as well. So this is overall pretty good, especially you could end up drawing this and just make a comeback play out of nowhere. Although one problem I have with this card, if you're all wondering where Air Neos is, he's right behind Neos, and you could barely see him, but you can see his wings. I want to be able to visually see Air Neos, please. If you're gonna have all the other Neos fusions be visible, why not have Air Neos as well other than just the wings? Just have them on top of the regular Neos or just on the bottom. You have some space. Next, Nwave. It's a continuous spell, and each of its effects are hard once per turn. Its first effect is that if your elemental hero monster is used for a material for a fusion summon and sent to the graveyard or banished, you can special summon one Neospatian monster or elemental hero Neos from your deck. This effect alone is already really good because that literally just extends plays. But the second effect also makes it better. If a Neos monster or elemental hero Neos is shuffled from the field or graveyard into the deck or extra deck, you can special summon one elemental hero from your graveyard. When you fusion summon a Neos fusion, you're going to be shuffling the materials back to the deck, so this second effect is almost guaranteed, but they also have the end phase effect. If you don't have the Neos space, they get shuffled back to the extra deck. So at least with this second effect, you don't end up being empty-handed. So not only that it can be a play extender twice, it can also make sure that your field actually has something. It's a definite must run. And then we have Fusion Over, which is a quick play spell. You can only activate one of these per turn, and its effect is target one monster on the field, reveal one elemental hero monster, Neospatian monster, or one level 10 monster from your hand, deck, or extra deck. And if you use that targeted monster as fusion material this turn, you can treat its name as the revealed monster. Also, if you have an elemental hero Neos on the field and or graveyard, send the revealed monster to the graveyard. Otherwise, the revealed monster from your hand goes back to the deck. If you're wondering about the level 10 part, that's because of Rainbow Neos and Rainbow Dragon, which it clearly shows in the artwork. So basically, it's a quick play version of Prisma. I say it's not too bad. I mean, it does help out the deck a little bit, especially that you don't need to summon a monster. And also that Rainbow Neos option is nice. Although in my opinion, this card is probably not too necessary if you're playing Neos. Finally, Favorite Contact, which is a normal trap, and you can only activate one of these per turn, and its effect is special summon one fusion monster from your extra deck that has hero as a material by placing materials to the bottom of the deck in any order from your hand, field, graveyard, and or banished cards, ignoring summoning condition. And when you place Neos, that special summon monster cannot return back to the extra deck. This is overall pretty decent. One, it prevents your monster from being bounced back to the extra deck, which is very good for Neos. Another is that you can use materials from literally anywhere but the deck. The only problem with this card is that it's a trap. It's another one of those traps that probably should have been a spell, although I get why it's a trap, because we don't want to devalue Miracle Contact, because this is basically a better Miracle Contact. Although I would still have liked this card to be a spell, but with an extra condition involved. But I say this card is okay to run if you personally want to run it. So that's it for the new Elemental Heroes / Neo support. What do you guys think of them? I personally don't play heroes, but I always like the concept of them. Although I do have some nostalgic with this archetype because I started watching GX and that's my first exposure to Yu-Gi-Oh! So I do have some nostalgic with this archetype, and I'm also pretty glad that more legacy cards are getting more support, especially Neos, because it's been a while since Neos got some support, so this is definitely good to see. And since we got Neos here, and some of his cards can relate to Rainbow Dragon, I do expect Crystal Beast support in this set. One, because we haven't got Crystal Beast support in a while, 2, the booster set name is literally called Power of the Elements, which Crystal Beast also plays with elemental crystals. And 3, Jesse in many ways can be considered a main rival to Jaden, even though he technically isn't, but Jaden acknowledges him to be much more a rival, especially that their decks are pretty similar in a way that both of them are spirits and both play with elements. And it's also a GX based set, so I kinda expect Crystal Beast support in this set. But on that, that's it for this, and see you all next time.